Am I the a-hole for walking out of my dad's wedding when I discovered I was cut from the family photos? Was I wrong to not stay quiet? Hey Reddit. I 25F recently attended my dad's wedding to his new wife, Lisa 40F. My parents divorced when I was 15, and while it was messy at the time, I eventually made peace with their separation. My dad and I have had a somewhat rocky relationship since then, but I always made an effort to stay connected. When he introduced me to Lisa 2 years ago, I genuinely liked her. She seemed kind and down to earth, and I was happy for them when they announced their engagement. The wedding was held last weekend at a beautiful venue. Lisa and her family went all out to make it a grand event, and my dad seemed over the moon. I arrived early to help where I could and to be part of the family photos, as previously discussed. I was excited to support my dad on such an important day and assumed I'd be included in the usual group shots. As the wedding photographer started organizing people for the family pictures, I noticed something odd. Lisa's kids from her previous marriage ages 12 and 14 were placed front and center with my dad, Lisa, and her parents. My dad's siblings, cousins, and even his step-siblings were being shuffled into various shots. Yet, every time it seemed like it was my turn to step in, I was either politely redirected or told to wait until later. At first, I thought it was just a matter of timing. But after the main family photos were taken, the photographer packed up and began shooting the couple's candid moments. That's when it hit me, I had been completely excluded from every family lineup. I pulled my dad aside and asked why I wasn't in any of the pictures. He looked flustered and mumbled something about Lisa wanting the photos to focus on the new blended family dynamic. I was stunned. I asked him if he seriously thought it was okay to leave me out, his only daughter, as if I didn't belong. He told me it wasn't personal, just that Lisa wanted to keep things simple. I was hurt and furious. I told him that if I wasn't part of his family enough to be in the photos, then I shouldn't be here at all. I left the wedding shortly after, despite him and a few relatives asking me to stay. Now, a few days later, I'm getting mixed reactions from family. Some are telling me I overreacted and should have stayed to support my dad. Others are saying my dad was wrong to allow Lisa to exclude me. I feel torn and wonder if I should have handled things differently. Update. First, I want to thank everyone who reached out and shared their thoughts. I read every comment and message, and your insights really helped me process the situation. I decided to have a conversation with my dad to clear the air and understand what happened from his perspective. We met at a cafe a few days after the wedding. He started by apologizing for how everything unfolded but tried to justify it by saying Lisa was feeling overwhelmed with the logistics of blending families. According to him, Lisa wanted to avoid potential conflicts or awkwardness during the photo session. I asked him point blank if he thought it was fair to exclude me entirely, especially when he knew how much the wedding and our relationship meant to me. He admitted that he regretted how it was handled but also asked me to see it from Lisa's point of view. He said Lisa's kids have been struggling with their parents' divorce and that she wanted the photos to symbolize a fresh start. While I understand the challenges of blending families, I told him that excluding me felt like a slap in the face. I explained how painful it was to see everyone else treated as part of the family while I was sidelined. I also reminded him that I'm his daughter and have been a part of his life long before Lisa or her kids entered the picture. He apologized again and said he wanted to make it up to me. He offered to arrange a separate family photo session that included me, but I told him it wasn't about the pictures anymore. It was about feeling respected and valued as his daughter. The conversation ended on a somewhat positive note, but I'm still feeling unsure about where we stand. Lisa hasn't reached out to me at all, which makes me wonder if she even cares about fixing things. Another update. It's been a couple of weeks since my last update, and things have taken a turn. My dad reached out again, saying he wanted to have a sit-down meeting with both me and Lisa to address everything. I reluctantly agreed, hoping it would lead to some resolution. The meeting was awkward, to say the least. Lisa started by saying she was sorry if I felt excluded but doubled down on the idea that the photos were meant to reflect the new family dynamic. She said it wasn't about excluding me but about keeping things cohesive. I asked her if she thought it was cohesive to cut out the groom's only child from the family photos. She looked uncomfortable and said she didn't realize it would hurt me so much. I told her that while I understand her wanting to prioritize her kids, it shouldn't come at the expense of erasing me from my dad's life. My dad chimed in and said he should have stood up for me more. He admitted that he went along with Lisa's wishes to avoid conflict and now sees how much it hurt me. Lisa apologized again, but it felt half-hearted. She kept shifting the blame to the photographer, the wedding planner, and even my dad, rather than taking full accountability. By the end of the meeting, I felt more frustrated than before. My dad seems genuinely sorry, but Lisa's apology didn't feel sincere. I told them I needed some time to figure out how I want to move forward. Final update. It's been a month since the wedding, And I've made some decisions about how I want to handle my relationship with my dad and Lisa. First, my dad and I had another heart-to-heart conversation, just the two of us. He admitted that he had failed me as a father during the wedding and promised to do better moving forward. He's made a real effort to rebuild our relationship, including inviting me over for dinner regularly and spending one-on-one time with me. As for Lisa, I've decided to keep my distance. While I don't want to create drama or tension, I also don't feel comfortable pretending everything is fine. Her actions at the wedding showed me where her priorities lie, and I'm not sure I'll ever feel fully accepted by her. Looking back, I don't regret walking out of the wedding. It was a painful decision, but it forced my dad to confront how his actions or lack thereof impacted me. I've also learned to advocate for myself and not settle for being treated as an afterthought. To anyone else navigating complicated family dynamics, my advice is to prioritize your own well-being. Sometimes, standing up for yourself means making tough choices, but it's worth it in the long run. Thanks again to everyone who supported me through this. Your kindness and advice meant the world.